Everyone, welcome for this new, not weekly, but monthly community show. This is the first monthly community show. I spent a lot of time preparing it. I'm very excited to share with you some of the news about the new patch, some content creator interviews, some dev interview. My co-host will be Drindin. Every month we will be there together to speak to you about the new content every single month. So let's get started. Hello, Drindin. How are you doing?
Good. Hey, everybody. Good to be
Nice.
here.
Are you happy to be my forever co-host of the community show now monthly?
I was kind of jealous of the other guys getting to come in and
Uh,
host. It'll be good.
nice. So before we start the show and discuss about the fun stuff, which is the new patch, just a little word about why we have the monthly show instead of a weekly show. It was a lot of work to prepare the show because I wanted to have a good quality and editing the show afterwards. And so that didn't left me a lot of possibility of doing some other task like organizing an event or creating other type of content that could be useful for the community. And we have one patch per month, so it was really ideal to have one show per month. We can prepare it more thoroughly and really have a nice little show for you guys, for you to enjoy. And related to the content creator, it was also difficult to organize and to not left out the content creator that are not free during this time, because many of them are working at that time. Some of them are just not available. So here we can do pre-recorded interview, and everyone can participate at this point because the schedule and the time zone does not matter anymore, which will be much more fun. So today, I've changed my little thing. So now we will have an introduction, which we just did, the trailer reveal. I'm very excited about that one. The patch notes, the new content discussion, then some community news, and we will end by the weekly game. So that's going to be really cool. It's a nice patch that we have prepared for our players, right? You're muted. You're
I am?
you're not anymore.
Oh, okay.
you were for a second.
I did adjust my sensitivity
Oh, yeah, that
trigger.
might be it. All right. So, are we ready to do the trailer reveal? Because we will be starting by
Do it.
that. Yeah?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's do a little trailer reveal. Let's go. So, a lot of really cool content. So, guys, I hope you are happy about it. So, yeah, we already have a comment. Now that inventory increase alone is 10 on 10. Yeah,
Yeah.
I knew that.
Yep.
So when I say to the community, I told them, the next patch, rejoice, rejoice, rejoice. It was absolutely about that. I was thinking, not any of the other features, which are very cool, but I think the inventory is always nice. It's always a good occasion to rejoice. We're doing this very carefully, right?
We are. We're trying to do it very carefully.
Because the inventory still need to matter to you guys, so you are not looting everything and then reselling everything without thinking about it. It still need to be a little point of tension, a strategy where you need to pay attention, then go back in the city sometimes to empty your bag. But we want also to give more comfort to people, and it has been really requested by a lot of people.
Yeah. I doubt that will ever stop being requested.
No, yeah, of course. And especially the new player will say, can you increase the bag, please? But we did it already 3 times. I think it's the 3rd time we increased the inventory since launch.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we have been doing it like step by step, but we still add more to it. It will have to stop at some point, guys. Yeah, so many good things in this patch. Indeed, there's plenty of quality of life improvement, and then you have a big piece of content, which is this new teleport in town. So this is something we have been eluding for a long time. We said that we didn't want to just put a monolith in New Haven City, that it had to be something a little bit more than that. And so
What do you mean? It has nothing to do with that. It's just that the Academy finally figured out how to tap into the system.
Yeah, you're right.
Embers going through the world. It's not our fault, eh? You got beef. Go talk to the philosophers at the Academy.
Yeah, maybe that's what you need to do.
But thanks to you guys for all the help researching, going out in the world and researching all Ember drifts and ruptures and monoliths and all the other Ember stuff out there, because that's what helped them build the monolith in the city.
Yeah, there we go. So this is going to be quite interesting to discuss about. But maybe first let's read officially the patch notes. So some people had been requesting, don't read the full patch notes on the show. And some other people have seen, oh yeah, I really like when you read the patch note on the show, so I can listen to it when I'm at work or something like that. Therefore, I've decided I will continue to read the patch note. If you really don't like the patch notes, and you're watching this on YouTube, you can skip it directly to the next chapter. I'm classifying everything by chapter. If I've not done it, it's a mistake, because I should do it. So you can really navigate through the video and take just the part that you prefer. This month patch adds a new type of monolith to the city. VFX SFX updates for abilities, a revamp to the hydrogen stat, a revamp of dense resource node, and an expanded storage option. There are also a number of performance tweak and loading routine updates. So let's start with the tech. Tech NPCs upgraded Unity engine from version 2021 to 2022. And I think we can take a little moment of celebration right now.
Yes. Finally.
Yeah, because it has been a while and Don has been working on that.
It was funny because when we were talking about him hitting the button to actually apply this, he was like, John, once I do this, that's it.
It's
over. There's no going back. And so
I
took responsibility. I forced him to press the button so that if everything failed,
it's your fault.
He could blame me about it.
Okay. So it is recorded, guys. You have heard that. So this is a blame Drindin, not a blame undone question here. All right. But now that finally this is done, we can focus on other stuff. So that will be really great. So hopefully it's not broke and it's working very fine and smooth. But yeah. All right. Enabled instance indirect vegetation rendering on Mac OS build. Performance improvement for Mac user. Fix an issue with NPC passing around some road. Always welcome. Fix an issue causing nameplates to fade in and out when in first-person mode. That's one of our players that found this bug, thanks to you. Fix a navigation issue in Mammoth's Cave. Oh, I think the 50s will be happy about that. They have been struggling with Mammoth's behaviors in that cave. Fix it screenshot and hide interface binding from triggering when text input was active. Fixed a bug that allowed non-subscriber to split stack from subscriber-only slots. Fix an issue where when trying to execute ability while unconscious it will say invalid role when it should have said not awake. Clamped vegetation rendering distance to view distance, minor performance improvement with reduced view distance. And Skull Boss respawn timer are now saved to the database and will no longer be impacted by server restart and or maintenance. I think that's also important.
Good one.
Environment art. Fix a number of cart objects not having proper collision. Fix stuck pots in Grizzle Peak. Reduce bow shooting volume and improve.
Can we all agree the bows were really loud?
Yeah, I don't know. I like my bow, but probably.
They were so loud. I couldn't hear the other VFX when I was fighting a nomad because it was like so loud.
But it's because only the bow is counting. No, but it's good to tweak those kind of things. And if anyone has anything to report related to the sound balance and everything, remember we're a very small team. We cannot pay attention to every detail, even if we try. So do not hesitate to give us feedback. Improve texture resolution and appearance of mini rug. And that will be very nice. Finally, the rugs look like a rug and not like an old map that we have walk on.
You know, all your rugs are fixed.
Yes.
I think it was just the mud on the boots of the drifters that was
it's
Undone just cleaned them.
It looked a little bit like that until it was looking really, really bad. And then thankfully Undone has fixed it. And then it was, oh, but that was a pretty rug actually. Nice. Added a new column to both the adventuring and gathering bag. This results in +5 back slot and +5 gathering back slot for everyone. Every single player will have that. Added a new subscriber-only column to personal stash and shared bank. This results in a potential of +8 bank slots for subscriber when all row are purchased. You still need as a subscriber to purchase your row as anyone else, but you have more columns.
Yes.
Added a reset position context menu option for target of target nameplates. Added a better description of where money was added when selling to a merchant, bag or personal stash. Added pause adventuring experience gain toggle to your skill window. When activated, you will no longer gain adventuring experience from NPC kill or task completion. When active, a pause icon will be shown to the XP bar under your action bar if your adventuring role is being tracked. This is amazing. I'm super happy about that. And I hope you guys, because this is a big deal. This is a very big deal. You can use this very wisely and have a character to play with specific friends. So you don't gain experience if you continue to adventure. You can have your character to welcome new player if you want to dedicate one character for welcoming new player. You can have the character that will always go back to CV1 and that is level 8 for example. So this is a feature that has been added to allow you more flexibility to play with your friends and to slow down, to pause the experience gain for certain character if you want to do so. And it's just a toggle, so you can remove it when you don't need it anymore. But it can allow you to slow down if you are playing more often than a friend, for example, or if you really want to grind a specific item that will obviously make you gain a lot of experience, and then you cannot do the other content you wanted to do. There's plenty of use that you can do. It's a social feature, and I hope that you guys will happily use it. Added an option to disable wall space player context menu while weapons are drawn. Added New Haven city label to the world map. World map label for New Haven Valley and New Haven City now show their full name, and updated combat tutorial to include the light blue con, which is really nice. That's also a feedback from a player. Thank you for your feedback. Design. Reduce the cooldown for deploy portable crafting station to 30 minutes, down from 60 minutes. Adjust a spawn near Northreach Hollow. Relocate stalker mobs near Monolith in Middleland, Highland Hills, and Grizzle Peak, basically so it doesn't annoy you when you are in a resting area. Increase drop rate of sword from Snatch Scale Brutes that you needed for a quest. Increase presence of Ridgeback along the Middleland rivers. Bottlelegger's Brew has a chance to drop off from Old Smuggler, also helping you for a quest. And converted some Quillback camp in Middleland to be solo or small group friendly 1 Chevron and 2 Chevron camp. This is something that has been requested by some player. We did had a lot of Quillback rocks where groups could farm Quillback, but we don't need to have that many Quillback groups, so there's more for solo player nowadays. So I think you will be happy to do that. You can still grind the Quillback, but this time you can grind it alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're talking about the bootlegger brew in the. You know, we actually thought that we had them dropping off all smugglers, so we were a bit confused why everyone was struggling with it so much. Thank you for the feedback, because we double checked it and they were not.
Quest dialogue task. Reduce the number of spider tasks from bulletin board. You're tired of spiders? There you go. Updated Ranger Alden dialogue. Updated Wishing for a Well objective text. And new quest added: Avain Odyssey, Infiltrate the Fortress, The Enemy of My Enemy, and Of Monster and Mayhem. So that's going to be really cool. So I do believe that Infiltrate the Fortress is a Dryfoot Fortress quest.
Right. Yep. All three of those bottom ones have to do with the
Dryfoot
with
Fortress.
the fortress, the new zone. And a Vain Odyssey is one that will take you through your entire leveling journey, and it is. I really love the final reward for it. It's really, really awesome. So.
Nice. So
yeah, you guys, yeah, it's worth it.
New quest for you guys. So many things to do.
It's all soloable because it has to do with the solo loops in the Ember veins. So
that's very nice to have a long solo quest. I think player will appreciate that. All right, now we arrive to the new stuff, guys. New stuff. So the main feature. It's not the bag increase. Now, I know it's your favorite feature, but it's not the main feature of this patch. The main feature is New Haven City Lay Pylon. Many of you have requested a monolith to be placed in the city for quite some times. We always been open to the idea, but wanted a city mono to be a bit different from the other more naturally occurring one through the world. Otherwise, what is to stop Creator in Exile from just invading? Enter the
point.
Yeah, exactly. Enter the lay pylons. Thanks to the recent work on the taproot, the Academy believes they have found a way of tapping into the monolith network. Activating the lay pylon, however, will take a coordinate effort from everyone on the server. Rumor has it that once activated, travel through the network becomes more efficient for a period of time. With the new load overhead synchronization tech added last month, we were able to implement a system that required the server to periodically work together in a sort of mini event. Players of all levels can participate in the activation of the lay pylons. When active, it will provide a benefit for all monolith travel for a few real-life days. For further detail, please speak with philosopher Gelwin Bolswhistle in the city. Note that the activation data of the lay pylon is stored in the database. This means that the active status will persist through server restart and/or maintenance. To indicate if the lay pylon is active, the map icon, upper right, will have an amber-colored highlight active. And here you have some image of our beautiful monolith in the city. You can see it's different, it's not the same than the one you find in the wild, because it is the work of the Academy. They have created it. Isn't that nice?
I did have to chop down that nice birch tree though. Sorry guys.
But this is really cool. So we are not revealing you how to do it. This is something that the community will have to figure out. And once you figure out, there it is. You will have to execute.
Yeah, don't overthink it, guys. Don't
Yes.
overthink it.
No beans related to the monolith solution, Drindin. We will keep the
No
beans of the month for
Just
later.
don't overthink it.
Damage target offset for VFX. We have added a positional offset for VFX application. Previously, VFX will trigger inside of an NPC, resulting in only a small bit of the VFX visible. This was obviously worse on larger creatures due to their size. Each creature now has a custom offset which moves the VFX toward the source, ensuring that most of the VFX is no longer shown inside of the NPC when triggered. In addition, many of the larger creatures now have additional VFX damage target to improve VFX placement, like feet, tail, etc. So that's a little improvement that will really help the understanding of the abilities that the enemies are casting. Non-alchemy ability visual added visual and sound effects for all non-alchemy abilities. Those effects are more minimal in comparison to the alchemy effect, but help improve overall game feel and skill identity. So very nice overall. That's I will be happy to hear your advice upon, everyone. Health regen revamp. To make plus regen more impactful, we have revamped when and how it is applied. Plus regen now allows you to regenerate health at all times, including combat. While the amount you can regen in combat is not huge, it's certainly an improvement over previous configuration. The real benefit of health regen will be felt outside of combat, where it will give you a leg up upon your fully rested bonus. This is the boosted regen rate that gets larger the longer you spend outside of combat. Plus regens essentially accelerate the internal clock that keeps track of how long you have been out of combat. In other words, plus regen allow you to gain a larger out of the combat regen rate faster. In our internal testing, it has reduced downtime significantly for large health pool, helping mostly the tank, the defender, that really were struggling in between pool when they were fighting. So this is going to be a very, very nice change, specifically for defender. And for everyone too, of course, but mostly for them. So this is cool. What do you think about that one, Drindin, as you play a defender yourself?
I mean, it's, yeah, amazing. I can't wait.
Nice.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been really good.
Gathering update, we have smoothed out the gathering profession progression with change to Dance Node. Dance Node have been repurposed to add additional tiers of progression. Experience gained from gathering is determined by the difference between your level and the required level of the node. This means that certain level, like level 19 skinning, level 10 required corpse for example, were slower than desired to progress. This change at the step between here so that at 19 killing mobs, 15 to 19, will have a level 15 skinning required corpse to skin. Those dense versions have all increased yield over the earlier tier version but still provide the same item. And we do have an interview of Adric speaking about that as well as the VFX. Very interesting, so if you don't really understand it through the patch notes, you will get it through the interview that we will play in a moment. So the Dance resource node change, Dance node have been given up updated visual to make them more distinct from their non-dance counterparts. Dance nodes have their tier have had their required level increased by 5. Dance nodes will now spawn in location with similarly level mobs. Dance nodes will provide additional resource. Similar to the node, skinning requirement now increment every 5 level with additional resource awarded for the higher required skill level. And last but not least, scene loading improvement. Scene loading routine has been overhauled to reduce the likelihood of the client locking up. Previously, we were doing a lot of work in a single frame. This includes loading in your character, loading in remote character, and initializing all of the interface elements required to run the game. Normally, this is not an issue since the client is sitting at a loading screen, but as we continue to add new interface elements and other things, this process has gotten longer and longer. Recently, this has started causing the application to become unresponsive on some machine. To mitigate this issue, we have spread the above work out over multiple frames, which basically allow the client to breathe in between intensive initialization operation. This is not guaranteed to resolve the issue, but we are hopeful this will reduce the frequency of occurrence. If it continues to happen, please send me your logs, as we have also improved the logging around the loading routine, so that can make further changes if become necessary.
And we did discover several, I don't know if I would call them bugs, but issues in our testing of that. So, you know, you're definitely Niblock. There's some fixes there for you. Hopefully it improves your experience there. We've definitely been working on that. So fear not, we aren't ignoring that.
Yes, and as you know, it is always how can I say, iterative. So we implement something and we may have to correct it. So the feedback of the player is very useful. It is not just a question of do you like this, do you not like this, but also is it working or is it completely messed up. So thank you for the feedback.
Definitely get those logs over to us so that we can just so that we can kind of parse through them and just try to figure out what the heck might be going on if we didn't get the things that needed to be caught.
Can you explain very fast how to get the log to someone?
Sure, you'll go. There is a post on the forums about it.
So Genra is saying, lots of community-driven update there. Thanks for hearing us out. Well, I hope that you guys are going to enjoy the change, enjoy the quality of life, and enjoy the monoliths. So it is time to speak about the new content in more depth. Let's start with the monolith, because that's the biggest piece of content for this month. So what is the reason why we have created the monolith the way we have created it?
Well, you know, as you all know, this is a group-based, community-driven game, and it is about challenge and working together. So we wanted to maintain that. We didn't want to be taking anything away that you already have. So let's say for some reason you guys can't get the monolith activated for a few days, at least nothing has changed from the current state of the game. So that is good. But moving forward, if you can work together as a community and activate the monolith, you'll get a discount on all travel using
Nice.
Ember teleportation, which would be, it includes both to the city, to all the Ember monoliths that you have discovered, and from the monoliths to the Ember rings. So that's pretty great. It saves you on some Ember essence, Ember travel essence, and if you're out of the travel essence, it saves you on the Ember essence.
Yeah.
So it'll allow you guys to basically be a lot more what's the word, efficient with your Ember essence.
Yeah,
That
and more
juicy.
mobile as well, because it will be very easy to travel back to the city and to do your business in the city. Like, for example, converting your travel essence, your Ember essence into travel essence. So you have even more discounts on the travel. So if you addition everything, the new monolith and the transformation of Ember essence into travel essence, the cost of the travel is very minimal now in comparison to how it was before. So it's a very big discount.
Yeah.
Traveling is becoming cheap, guys. And so, yeah, the idea with this puzzle is really to have the community working together, and every level can work together. So it's like a giant red, but for the whole community and not just the level 50s, for example.
And it's kind of a whole world thing. I'm excited for you guys to talk with the new NPC that's nearby, Gelwin. Yeah, that's going to be fun to see what you guys... I don't know. I love hearing people like kind of speculate on what means what and how that goes. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, it will be nice. It will be nice to see how the community is figuring out the puzzle, and yeah, how you guys are going to handle this. This is going to be fun. So gather the friends, bring back the guildies, and let's work on that together, because everyone will benefit from that. It's a new challenge. It's nice because it is a community challenge that is not combat related, but still will require everyone participation, everyone to use their wits, etc., and to figure things out. So I think it will be really cool.
It might not involve combat, but it does involve an element of danger. So, be careful out there.
Yeah, of course, it's Embers Adrift, so it cannot be not dangerous.
You're never safe.
Yeah, you're never safe. You never know. Maybe one day the chests in the bank are going to transform themselves into mimic. Who knows? So Magic Mac is saying we must attack the NPC and steal his notes once maintenance is over. Well, good luck with that. Good luck, guys. It's going to be fun to observe the community and what they're doing with this.
Yeah, I'm excited. So,
but in any case, what's very important to note is that if the monolith is not active, the whole system works exactly like before. The closest monolith to the city is the one in Northreach, so it just exactly like it was until now. And but to work as a community will reward you with some ease, and that's always what we wanted to do with the monolith in the city. So how was it from your point of view to have to say to the player that we were not having a monolith in the city, while we always had planned to have one, but we didn't really were very open about that?
Yeah, I mean, it was... It depended on a few things. So the possibility of not having a monolith in the city was always there, but since we were able to get basically come to a design agreement of something that we could all agree on that worked with just the design of the game and how we wanted to maintain things. It was pretty important for us to make sure that we had some element of community involvement there for the city. Some lore elements that made sense to also have, because the old monoliths were made by the Vihuramen, and this new monolith had to be made by the Academy, and so it couldn't operate the same way or be the same thing as the Vihuramen make ones. So, you know, it was like we had a couple of design hurdles to jump over, and we were able to do it. So it was really awesome once we kind of came to you know, some good ideas to finally be like, okay, yes, we in fact are going to be doing a monolith in the city, because the other option was just, you know, keep going as we have been. But yeah, no, it was always kind of one of those things where it's like you wanted to be able to say, yes, we're going to do this, but we weren't 100% sure. So
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really because of the puzzle in the Osric Rest, the
yes.
tech that we had to use for the Osric Rest puzzle, that we could create that concept and apply to society. Yeah. So it's
And our ideas before were a lot more. They were kind of centered around a big event to build the thing or the monolith in the city, and honestly, like, we didn't want it to just be a one and done kind of thing. We wanted it to be something that could, you know, draw the community together over and over again. So, you know, kind of call you guys all together to work together for the benefit of the whole community, instead of just making people grind out gathering resources or, you know, paying money or something like that. You know, it just didn't really feel right.
yeah,
So
it's certainly much more interesting because it will require, yeah, the player to use their brain and to coordinate each other and work together. All right, so I do have a little interview about Adric, speaking about the VFX and the sound design, as well as the gathering. So I'm going to play. Hello, Adric. Thank you so very much for coming to this interview.
Hi, thanks for inviting me.
Nice. We will be discussing shortly about the new special effect and animation and sound that you are adding to the abilities. Can you speak a little bit about the reason you're doing that and then how you proceed?
Sure. I mean, part of the reason is that with the introduction of alchemy, 1 and 2 back in end of October, beginning of November, we've kind of created some space in there to have some effects on the normal abilities while still maintaining our unique fantasy aesthetic. So it's not too over the top or anything, but we let alchemy kind of be that bombastic, over the top VFX and everything for people. But there was room for us to add something a little bit more subtle in there, both on the VFX and the sound effects. So now that once I decided that we did have some space in there that could still fit in, within the unique aesthetic of the game, just kind of going through. First, I did take what we had for alchemy and see if it made sense scaled down. It didn't make sense in all the cases because sometimes it would be something overly magical, like a holy light or an electric current or something, which even scaled down wouldn't make that much sense without that the impact of alchemy enhancing it. So just had to bring that down into something more specific to like the ability. Like, is that ability going to be something which is going to cause the opponent to bleed? So maybe it's more of like a squishy sound that we want to incorporate with it, with a little bit of red splatter or something, to kind of coincide with what type of ability it is.
Nice. So can we remind everyone that it's not at all what you're doing usually? So how does
Yeah,
it go?
I mean, I'm usually in numbers and spreadsheets, right? So either, figuring out health pools and DPS numbers and trying to balance abilities and weapons and stuff like that, or populating zones and creating new items and stuff. So, the sound and the visuals are not typically the things that I work on, but I do really enjoy it, especially the visuals of it. I do kind of enjoy the sound part of it too, but I dislike the fact that I can't listen to music while I'm doing it. So because I prefer to listen to music well, and I really need to silence my music to get a full, listen, be like, okay, yes, that's good for that ability. So, yeah, and I mean, I guess in addition to us having the room to introduce these effects, was also making sure that the sound system that we had in the game and the VFX system could handle it at scale, because alchemy is pretty select when and where. A bunch of people could use alchemy all at once, but it was not constant. It wasn't something that as you're fighting through a dungeon you would have firing off 10, 20 times a fight, whereas like the normal abilities would. So I had to talk to Undone about to make sure that performance wise and sound wise things weren't going to get out of control if all these sound effects and stuff. So he did make some adjustments to make sure that you weren't just being bombarded with everyone else's effects and stuff, which we always had on hit auto attacks and stuff would make a an impact sound based on your weapon type. But this adds on to that, so you still have that, and then there's also some other sound that's associated with it that kind of plays into I think the Warden Acid Strike is a good example, where it kind of has a kind of sound that kind of trails afterwards, so it's very unique to that ability, and you can hear it going off and you can tell that someone has used that ability, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, I think it's nice. I think it will be adding another dimension to the combat, which was, I think, the goal of doing this. It was to add another layer of impact for the player to feel when they are fighting.
Yeah, absolutely. That feedback and that impact is definitely important, and we're just always looking for different ways that we can improve the game, and that was one that I'd been wanting to do for a while, so I'm glad I got the chance.
That's really great. So in addition of the new sound effect, you have also improved the gathering for this month. Can you explain a little bit what was the point and how you did that?
Yeah. So those who've gone through and really pushed gathering far into the 30s and stuff definitely know that there are certain level ranges which are incredibly slow progression wise and feel more grindy, I would say, than we anticipated or wanted the players to go through, and part of that was because when you gathered a resource from a resource node, the experience that you were granted towards your gathering profession was determined by the difference between your gathering level and the required level of the node. And in a lot of cases, you might be, 7, 8, 9 levels ahead, and is essentially the equivalent of killing green monsters. Something that's 9 levels lower than you. And so the experience the players were getting from that action was very, very little. Now, when they would take the materials and refine it, That step had a wider range. So the material has like a level range. In this case, like if you were level 37, you'd be processing materials that might be 30 to 40 or 35 to 45 as their material level range. And that refining and process did grant much better experience as you would expect, but we were still kind of missing that first part with the initial gather of having a good experience from that. And that was universal to all the gathering professions. So what I had tried to do in the past, something that hit QA, by the way, never hit live, was adding more different types of materials to increase offset levels. So instead, being level 37, gathering a level 30 node, you would go and you would find level 35 materials, different resources that would show up at level 35, and you can go gather those. And, it's like more like killing blues, and it would be a much better progression experience. But the introduction of more materials caused more issues with gathering bag and bank space and everything. So we decided not to push down that road. And more recently, I got the idea that, we should just have, right now, we do have this idea of dense nodes, which give you increased yield, which are just rare spawns of nodes of the same required level. And so what I decided to do was, instead of them being rare spawns of the existing level, so like a level 30 regular node and a level 30 dense node, that they would be 5 levels higher, and then also increase the yield even more from these. So that way we don't have to introduce new materials, so there's no additional stress on bank or bag, and you get like that blue kill experience from that initial gather, and you get more materials. So I think it's win-win-win.
Yeah, it's like to find a chest node, basically.
Yeah, so those are great. And I just similar with like the VFX stuff, I've always hated the fact that the dense nodes looked identical to the regular nodes. And I went through and I made visually dense versions of them. So you have like your penny bun mushroom, and now they're like, the dense one is like 3 of them stacked together. And I think it's called like a mushroom patch in the game, on the tooltip. Same thing with like the plants and stuff. There's multiple stacked. The mushrooms come like staggered, and the logs are like piled on top of each other. So it's like finding multiple logs piled up.
That's really cool. So the player will visually see immediately, oh, this is a dense node. I cannot miss it. I must go to that one in priority. Okay.
Yeah, because sometimes you wouldn't know until you read the tooltip, whether you were looking at like a level 5 thing or a level 10 thing. And hopefully the visual distinction will help, especially in any areas that are mixed between like the regular version and the dense version, which now requires a higher level to gather. But now you can just at a glance should be able to be like, oh, that one's dense, I can't do that one yet, or oh, that one's not dense, I'm not even gonna bother because it's basically like doing a green.
Yeah. Okay, that's really cool. And what when it comes to hunter?
Yeah, so for hunted, there are the skinning nodes that you find in the world. Same thing as the other gathering nodes. With those that you would find the regular ones, and then there will be large corpses basically for the dense node variants. And then skinning itself is split up. So previously, as an example, if you killed, say, a doe at level 9, that the skinning on that doe would have said required skinning level 1. And it would have given you, if it was a 1 chevron, it would have given you 1 carcass. And now the that level 9 doe will be required skinning level 5. So again, not, bringing that level up so the initial experience is higher. And then because it's on the dense one, you actually will end up getting 2 carcass parts from that dough because
Nice.
it's a dense variant. Yeah.
But you
So-
cannot see visually.
Right. There is no indication from before you kill the monster what the skinning level will be until you kill it.
Okay, but when you kill it, the carcass is bigger or something? Or it's just a toolkit?
No, it's just the higher level. It's only the resource nodes that spawn in the world that are bigger.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I think we have all the question related to gathering. That's a really nice change. I think player will be happy about that.
Yeah, I really hope so.
Well, thank you so very much for your time, and see you soon.
Okay, bye.
And we are back! Yay! So that was quite interesting. You muted.
There we go.
There
Yeah,
we
that
go.
was nice. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. So does anyone in the chat have any question related to the subject or the content in general? Whatever may be in the patch note that we have been reading. So what are you the most excited about? And Drindin, what are you the most excited about?
I mean, I'm really excited about the monolith. I'm also excited about the quests. I think there's some cool quests out there for this this patch. But yeah, I kind of want to see, what you guys can do, how quickly you can activate the monolith, what you guys think about the lore, what you think about the discount travel rates and all that kind of stuff once you activate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that will be quite exciting. So now what I'm very excited about is not something we have been telling into the patch notes, which is our plan for the summer. So
Yes.
can
I was
we
wondering if you're going to bring that up.
Yeah, exactly. We need to bring that up. So one of the things we want to do during the summer, because the summer is a period which is more calm over the industry, and rightfully so, because when it's good weather, you have to go to the beach or to the lake or to the mountain or whatever you're doing, spend time with your family, doing a barbecue, not spend all your life in front of your video game. But those of us that are still playing video game, that are not going to the beach or the mountain or to a barbecue, we want to ensure that you will have fun. Therefore, we will organize 2 big weekend events during the summer, one in July, very soon actually, and one in August. Yeah, can you tell a little bit more about those 2 weekend events?
Yeah, I mean, I think, with the advent of this monolith being created by the Academy, there are a lot of factions out in the world that would really like to get their hands on this technology and this great learning. And most notably the Cabal and the alchemists in Forgotten Depths.
Yeah, and you never know.
They're trying to figure out how they can get their grubby dark alchemy hands on this. So I think there's definitely going to be an event that's going to be surrounded about those guys. We're going to have the event of activating the monolith. Because even if you guys figure it out, it still takes teamwork. So we'll, for sure, if it's not activated, we will activate it. And yeah, we just want to celebrate the summer and kind of have a, kind of a reason to celebrate how far Embers Adrift has come, and as kind of a thank you for all the people who are with us and playing the game and all that kind of stuff. So it's gonna be sweet. There might even be a discount.
There might be a
we'll
discount.
have to talk about that. There might be a discount on the
So
game.
that will mean that it will be the ideal time to try Embers Adrift with a free trial, to bring your friends, to gather back your guild or people that has not played for a while, so they can try all the new stuff and everything, and so we can really ensure that everyone is gathered during the same weekend to re-enjoy those. When there's a weekend event, it's always fun because everyone is popping in, and it's very pleasant for new player or returning player to remake friends, to re-socialize. And our game is about grouping, right? It's about playing with other player. So when there's less population, we need to find a way to concentrate the population and ensure they play at the same time, to reinitiate the guilds and the fun time and the friendship in between people.
There's even a rumor that some new event mobs have been created for this. These weekends. So
Ooh, that's really cool. All right, so guys, get ready, mark your calendar, be sure to bring your friends to get back your guildie that have dropped the game to play other stuff. There has been a lot of launch this summer, so we need to gather all the people for those weekends so we can really enjoy Embers Adrift at its best, when there's player and friend to play together, when we can set up groups and enjoy our time. So I'm going to organize also content creator event, probably not a streamer marathon because that requires a lot of organization, and we're a little bit short on time because the first event is like in 2 weeks. And I'm going to TwitchCon first, so but we will be sure to set up something really fun. If you are a content creator and you want to participate to this event, please do contact me.
yeah, and there probably will be some random stuff going on. There might be some fireworks. There might be all kinds of stuff. So
yeah. So let's enjoy the summer together in Embers Adrift, and let's be sure to get this monolith on. That will be nice. There we go. All right, so now let's talk about the community news. I do have two content creator interview. The first one being Annoying Llama, which is speaking about the VFX sound and about the combat and his enjoyment about the game in general. And the second interview is the Nathan Napalm, which is speaking about our last content for last month, which was the Dryfoot Fortress. Have you already been in the Dryfoot Fortress? The Dryfoot Fortress is quite epic. I don't think anyone did clear it, except maybe the 50s. That might be the only one that has really been through every corner of the fortress. But all the other group, I think they have been finding troubles, because the Dryfoot Fortress is quite epic and badass.
yeah, challenging.
Yeah, it's really challenging. All right. So are you ready for the first interview?
I'm ready. Before we start, does this include Annoying Llama's? He had a thought about health regen saving his party.
Oh, I don't think he speak about that. But I
Oh
know
my
Ilama has been creating a few very interesting video lately.
Yeah, you guys should check out his short on health regen. It is like skin of their teeth they came through. It was really entertaining to see them come through that fight and barely survive. Check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. So, for those of you that are watching on YouTube, you will find all information in the box below, obviously, as usual. Hello, Annoying Llama. Welcome to the new monthly community show. How are you doing? Thank you for joining.
Hi. Thank you. I'm doing great. Just ready to have some fun and let's talk some more about Embers Adrift, you know?
Awesome. For the people that do not know you, and that will be a mistake, can you introduce yourself shortly, please?
Hi, what's up, guys? Yeah, thank you. Hi, what's up, guys? My name is Annoying Llama. I am a content creator on twitch.tv. also on YouTube. But I also love streaming a lot of MMORPGs. Recently, been getting into a lot of old school MMOs, and one of them happens to be also Embers Adrift. So yeah, so been having a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, that's awesome. There had been 2 interviews of Annoying Llama previously in some other community shows, so if you want to know more in depth how he started and how he enjoyed Embers Rift, you can check those interviews. Alright, so today we're going to speak about the new patch and the new content, or the new improvisation we are adding to the combat. So, what do you think about the effect? What did you experience, etc.?
Yes. Oh, so I got to experience a little bit of the QA kind of stuff recently. Didn't really get to go in depth with the combat per se, but I am definitely going to be probably checking that out pretty soon. But what I checked out for the effects as a Warlord player, they have a lot of new visual effects for Embers Adrift, and I was very happy to see that actually. Like a good example, the auras, they have instead of usually will have an aura for the with the alchemy that they have inside the game, the kind of the magic system in the game. But now it's like just kind of a base kind of like swirl effect to it. It kind of helps out actually, even for the just visual side, it actually helps out a lot, because when you're, instead of mentally trying to look for the countdown and stuff like that, or if a buff is gone and stuff like that, you're not just like kind of looking for the tick or kind of like looking for the damage, or not the damage, the countdown. You can actually just see it visually on the screen, and it kind of helps impact the combat a little bit, actually way better in the game. Also, I noticed that also some other effects kind of have some more like, I think, sound design, and a lot more like visual, like the debuffs actually show like which debuff like is actually being applied, which it helps out so much more, and it really kind of improves the combat with inside Embers Adrift. So pretty excited to see what more you guys gonna have for that for other classes too.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's something that you have been talking about in some of your video, about your interest and love about the combats. So I think that's, you know, in your line. Can you talk a little bit about what you enjoy with the combat in Embers Adrift? Because the
Yes,
combat can seem
oh, no.
very the combat can seem sometimes a little bit boring from the point of view of someone which is watching the game for the first time. You see a streamer, it's like, yeah, that seems like slow, but they cannot see the depth of the combat on their screen. So can you speak about your experience?
No, 100%. The reason why I love the combat, I mentioned this in videos, I mentioned this in streams and stuff like that, but you know, I agree with that. Yeah, no, when you're watching it from an outside perspective with the current like iteration of the combat now, it's by the way, just talking about just visually, like you mentioned beforehand, yeah, I can see why people can perceive it as like, oh, it's a little bit boring, like there's not much to do, blah blah blah, like that. But one of the biggest things that I love about the combat is that when you get your hands on the abilities, you get your hands onto the like just the aspect of your character and the class that you're playing, you really get to see there's a lot more to it. Like, so good example, like you go into like some dungeons and stuff like that with a lot of group content. A lot of your abilities, even early game, definitely a lot of abilities early game. Definitely, like you have to use all of them to, you know, for your fullest potential. Again, as a Warlord player, as a healer, even with the 4 basic abilities that you get, the Sailing Strike, just Strike, what was it? There was the defensive one and the healing one. Those 4 things that you got a damage mitigation, you got a healing ability. You got a straight up defense, a breaker, essentially an armor breaking ability, and just a regular attack ability. Even with those 4 abilities, you're able to do a lot when it comes to group combat. Like, you can help your tank not die. You can help heal your group and stuff like that. And also, you know, I have a lot of ways to, you know, help your group defeat a mob a heck of a lot faster. But with the combat, it's just really in depth when you get your hands on it. It's one of those kind of games that if you just get your hands on it, you really get to see the full potential of what it is. And especially when you level up inside the game, the abilities within your class set that you get to, you know, expand upon at level 6, when you start leveling up your character, you start figuring out more abilities and more ways you can provide for your group, and start realizing your identity inside your class, within the game itself. So yeah, but for me, I take like combat in video games like really seriously. In a sense of just not like heavy numbers or anything like that, but just like how it feels to play and stuff like that, and like things like, you know, debuffs and buffs, how do certain stats apply to certain things, and just I think when it comes to Embers combat, I would agree with going back to what you're saying earlier, that yeah, no, it doesn't seem like something when you watch it, because of just with the visuals and stuff like that, but when you really get your hands on it, like you really get to do a lot. A great example of this is actually the PvP video I made way back. I was talking about it, you know, I know it's a joke thing you guys added to the game, but with the combat of Embers Adrift, it feels really good to actually play PvP inside the game, because just how the numbers and everything work, but also your abilities that you get to use with just fighting another player, and you can just you realize that you can do a lot more to another player with the current ability set that you have, and it just feels really good. It just feels really good.
So do you think that this visual and sound effect can also help to make the combat feel a little bit more interesting for someone that is discovering it on YouTube or on Twitch?
Oh, 100%. I believe that whether tweaks that you guys are added or parts things you're going to be adding into the future, I think just adding more visual visual things to the abilities of the characters, or sound cues like blocking. I'm assuming I think you guys added that. I can't remember if someone mentioned that or not. But like, you know, block sounds, riposte sounds and stuff like that. Like crit sounds and stuff like that, you know, just small things like that, just add a lot of visual cues of what your ability is doing in the span of combat. I think will get people not only just interested in the sense of like looking into the game, but also feel like they're playing the game and get that sense of impact when you're actually using your abilities. So yeah, no, like I said, like from what I've seen with the Warlord, with the current like the QA iteration of like the combat abilities, how they look, the more visual cues now, they do help not physically, they help me see visually what my character is doing to essentially the opponent or my allies that I'm going to be healing or doing, you know, with whatever. But it really expresses what my abilities are doing, how are they impacting what I'm doing, essentially the attack activity that I'm doing. And just like, you know, like when it comes to buffs, like the Warlord buffs, I can see when they're on my character, there's a visual an indication of when the buff is up and when it's not up. So when I see the blue, the energy buff is not up, and I see the blue thing is not circling around my feet, it's like, oh crap, my energy buff is gone. Like, instead of me having to sit there and I'm just like, oh wait, hold on, look at my buff bar, and I'm like, oh wait, my energy buff's gone. Like, it's that visual cue that really kind of gets you into that. And then you can also learn different things of timing, just seeing that so you're not distracted off of one thing. Because in this game, like, I don't know if a lot of people if you guys see this and haven't played the game or not, this game, like a lot of the combat can get, you know, crazy in group plays and stuff like that, because you can have a mob that can do a really big crit to a tank, or, you know, tank can get really low, and that one sense of distraction can, you know, mess up the gameplay, and you probably won't be able to heal your tank in time. They'll die. So you don't want that to happen. True. So yeah, so that's my whole rant on that whole thing. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you so very much. New tradition for each interview, I'm asking a little question. So what is your favorite dungeon in Embers Adrift?
Oh, that's a really good question. I would say, because I'm currently level 26 now. Oh man, I would say technically this isn't a dungeon, but technically it is, because it's a Ember thing. But Flooded Ruins, I'm actually really loving Flooded Ruins. I love going to Flooded Ruins. I don't know why the aesthetic of like that flooded, like, you know, a flooded ruin. But if you want to talk about like a full-on dungeon, Undercroft. I really like Undercroft. I always like running Undercroft. UC is like probably the best place I enjoy, because you start off with like just kind of going in this little temple then you get into this like nice little cave system that's like mixed in with it. And I think what was the next place I'm going to? It's the one where it's like with the cultists inside it. In the
Forgotten
giant
Depths.
mire.
Yes.
Yeah, Forgotten Depths. I ran that one time, and I'm really enjoying that, and I can't wait to explore the rest of that. That might actually be my new favorite one, mainly because I saw the giant mire, and I was like, ooh, there you go. That's a world boss right.
Nice. Thank you so very
Yeah,
much,
but
Annoying Llama. That's really awesome. I thank you for
thank you so much.
You take care. See you soon.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on this interview.
Of course. That was the interview of Annoying Llama.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like his explanation about the combat. Because he's also, and I think it's important to note that Annoying Llama is a younger player. So it's not those from the generation of player that started with EverQuest and Ultima Online and Dark Age of Camelot, which show that you're not forced to be of that generation to enjoy a game like Embers Adrift. You can be a younger person that has started with other game and that enjoy. And it's not the only case. I had several friends that were also younger that never played EverQuest and that really enjoyed Embers Adrift, because Embers Adrift proposed a system of gameplay which is unusual but interesting. And I do believe that someone that enjoy to be able to group up with other players, that like to have a meaningful role among the community, I think those person would enjoy a game like Embers Adrift.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people who aren't old guys like me playing our game. So people who never played EverQuest and Ultima Online and some of those earlier games, RuneScape and whatnot. So
yeah. Because if we did enjoy it back in the days, it's because it was enjoyable for several reasons, and those reasons can still be enjoyable nowadays, which is the social aspect, the slow progression. You have to earn what you get. It's not falling from the sky. You're not finding the piñata loot every corner. And I do believe that many people are enjoying a challenge, enjoying to have to group play, and kind of like the slow pace progression or the journey aspect of a game, because it's quite different to level up your character and to, you know, take care of it as you progress. And oh yeah, now you're in endgame. Now you're kind of done, or you are in a different type of grind, which can be fun and enjoyable, and plenty of people love that, obviously. But it's not the same feeling than gaining a level and you can equip a new sword, and then you need to work on your crafting so you're sure that you have enough food and drink to be able to face the challenge on your journey. And all those things are meaningful only if the journey take a while, because if you're going too fast through it, then why putting the effort into acquiring the new sword or getting your food ready so you can eat for 3 level or 30 minutes of gameplay?
yeah, I agree.
All right. The next interview is from the Nathan Napalm. Everyone knows the Nathan Napalm probably, and if you don't, you really should check him out. He's a really cool guy. He has plenty of content on his channel, and he's focusing mostly on old school type of MMORPG. This is a veteran MMORPG player, and is very pleasant. It has a very nice persona. So this interview is speaking about the Dryfoot Fortress, so the new dungeon we introduced last month, which is a dungeon divided in 2 categories. The first is for level 33 to 36. The second part of the dungeon is for level 44 to 48. It does include a solo loop, which is actually the entrance to the dungeon. If you don't go through the solo loop and don't solve the puzzle to open the door, you cannot enter the fortress. So you have to go through that, even if you are with a group. And there's also our first or earliest school boss, the Emerald Queen. All right, let's check it out. Hello, Nathan. Thank you so much for joining us in this new monthly community show. For the
Glad to be
play,
here.
thank you so much. For anyone that do not know you, can you introduce yourself briefly?
Yeah, I am the Nathan Napalm. I am a YouTube and Twitch content creator. I make content around MMORPGs, specifically those that have the kind of spirit of old school, original types of requests and the like. It's my speciality. And yeah, I stream and I make video content.
Thank you so much, and you're very good at that. It's always a pleasure to see one of your new video. Thank you very much for doing those.
Oh, absolutely. Those are made completely out of love.
Thank you. So, speaking of videos, lately you have been exploring the newest content in Embers Adrift, aka the Dry Food Fortress. So, what did you thought about it?
I liked it. So this is a dungeon that we've known was coming for a long time. So, I kind of had over, I might be exaggerating here, but roughly, 8 months, maybe longer, that we kind of knew. It's been a while. So I kind of would look at that area as it was on the map and try to imagine what I thought you guys were going to do with it. And you guys definitely did more than I thought you would. I was expecting maybe like a couple of small areas you'd go into, like maybe some underground, and then maybe just like some ruins, on the top. But what you guys did with it, especially with the kind of puzzle working together for the puzzle, I should say, without spoiling anything, to get into it through the tunnel. That combined with, once you get there, how big it actually is, and the additional content you've added in there, very, very satisfied. I think it's way cooler than anybody could have known.
Oh, that's awesome. So, speaking of the puzzle, this is really the first time that we're doing something like that. What did you thought about it?
It feels cool. So, what it reminded me of, even though it's totally different, it reminded me of older MMOs used to do things like maybe you'd have to get a key, you'd like as a drop, so that somebody in your party could open a door, and then you could go into an area that you otherwise couldn't have went into, and not for like, it wasn't specifically a lot of the times for like end game. It'd be like, as you're leveling up, there'd be an area, additional areas you could go to. And it reminds me of that because the first time, so we were trying to figure it out, how to get to the area. I'm trying to say this in a way that doesn't spoil it for people who haven't done it. We were trying to figure it out, and we were getting really close. And we actually thought we did figure it out because the door opened and we ran through, and we were kind of scattered. So everybody just like, we didn't know how long it was going to let it, the door's going to be open.
Yeah.
So we like ran in, and then later we realized that we didn't solve the puzzle. Somebody else did. And we just kind of followed their lead and ran in. We thought we had figured it out. So it's pretty funny though, but that means that you could do that. Like somebody could come in, if people are struggling, and do the thing, we'll say, without spoiling it, and then let other people in. Like that could happen. It reminds me of the old days where somebody might have a key and, they'd be like, hey, if you want in, then, show up now because I'm opening it,
You bet that happened. You had some players selling the opening of the gate already.
Yeah, it's pretty smart. Pretty smart.
Alright, and so in the Dry Food Fortress, there's also the fight on the rampart. What do you think about that? Have you been fighting over there?
We did not make it there. So we got in, and we were able to run around at the very entrance. We every time we would try to go real deep into that dungeon, we would get completely overwhelmed. So we weren't able to make it. We got to a point where we could get up a good vantage point and look around at everything. But no, we weren't able to make it to that yet.
Oh, you could go to the rampart right away, but they're quite tricky because you can fall, which happened to me in my group all the time. So you can fall from the rampart, or if you're not crouching, you aggro the stone cold that are below there, and so they climb back and you get your butt kicked.
Wow. Okay.
So I kind of like it because you have this kind of several levels fight. It gives you a little extra difficulty. You need to be very cautious about that.
Agreed.
Did you had your chance to meet the new creature, the Scarabax?
I did. We did get to fight some of those. Very cool mob design. I like them a lot. There's a super mean one that we haven't seen yet, but we did get to fight some of the regular ones. I think the first one we seen when we were just exploring, we found it in the solo loop area, I think. But then we ended up fighting some harder ones once we got in the fortress.
Yeah, I can testimony that I was following your first adventure, and that's where you fought that one.
Yes, they're very cool. I love the art design of the creatures, because even though they vary and they're completely different each time, there's a consistent theme there where I don't know if it's always the same artist, but it seems to be. You know what I mean? Like, as a consistency. Okay, well, that explains it, because it does seem like it's the same style, I should say.
Oh, nice. You would be happy to know about that.
Yeah, but they're totally different. I'm not saying they look the same. Like, obviously, each creature's very unique. I go in circles on what my favorite monster is, because it changes sometimes. But I do think those, the Snatch Skells are pretty... That's a really cool mob. The longer I think about all the patterns on them and how cool they look, that might be my favorite mob. That's just a really unique mob.
I agree with you, and that's also my favorite, the Snatch Scale and the Mire. I really love the Mire when they die. It's so beautiful. It's just
It is really cool.
creature.
It is a beautiful, yeah, I agree with that.
They're nasty, but they're pretty.
Yeah, they are pretty. Like a jellyfish type, kind of pretty, you know?
Exactly. So what will be your idea of, or you hope for an next dungeon?
What would I want for a next dungeon? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I haven't thought about this. Wow, I don't know. Let me think for a second. Because I want to give you a good answer. If there was a, I think it'd be really cool. Like, obviously, I'm just making stuff up right now, right? But it'd be really cool. I know Drindin already said that there's a content coming. I don't remember if he said it was a dungeon thing or not, but he already said there was content coming that's gonna kind of dive deeper into the others, which is kind of my main thing. I really would like to see what's going on with, because that's like the big mystery, I feel like. And we have gotten details, by the way, for people that played the game or are going to. You can dig in and find a lot out about the others, but there's still a lot of unanswered questions. But besides that, I'm going to go way off the walls here, okay? I'm going to go into Crazy Town, okay? But it is something people talk about a lot, which would be going, since it has to be a dungeon, I'm going to twist it to my means. Going somehow, maybe through a portal, I don't know how it would work, and going to Blupiter into a underground, subterranean type area on Blupiter. I'm going to go with that. That would be the coolest thing ever.
That's quite interesting. That's quite interesting. But do you know that it's a giant Jesus, right?
It's a giant what?
A giant Jesus? A Jesus planet? So, not sure how that
So maybe
will
not.
work.
So maybe not. I did not know that.
Oh, at least that's what it suggested. by its resemblance to another planet, who knows.
Right.
Well, thank you so much, Nathan. Where is everyone can find you?
You can find me on YouTube, the Nathan Napalm, or you can find me on Twitch, the real Nathan Napalm. And I'm also on Twitter and everywhere else as well, but mainly hang out on YouTube and Twitch.
And I will post the link below, of course, as usual. Check out Nathan. It's really, really, really cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yes, that was great. I always like hearing from Nathan.
Yeah. It's always nice. That's very true. And here we have plenty of very nice screenshot about the Dryfoot Fortress. So you guys, if you have a character around level 33, you can already start, or maybe even a little bit below if you're with nice higher level player. You can explore it and discover for yourself what's within its wall. Especially now that we have 3 extra quests for the Dryfoot Fortress. So.
Oh yes, yeah. You lots of things to do in the Dryfoot Fortress now.
Yeah, and it's quite an interesting fight.
We still have some more lore we wanna put into there too. So you can expect a few more quests coming. I don't know if soon is the right word, but there should be some more lore quests that kind of have the fortress involved and whatnot. So.
Oh, that's really cool. So the show has been much longer than I anticipated.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, well, it's great. Well, now that we're only doing one a month, I think that's perfectly suitable.
Yeah, exactly. But something that I would like, a new tradition that I would like to introduce, Drindin, if you agree with me, is the beans of the month.
The beans of the month.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what can you tell us for this month? Guys, be attentive. This is the beans of the month. You will get your secret information.
We have decided to put even more lore about the others into the content that's coming up that involves them. So
Ooh.
we will probably be spilling many more beans than we initially intended to when you get that content of meeting the others. I also think the level 50s are going to be very excited to see some stuff coming their way as well.
Nice. That will, of course, take a little time of preparation. Do not expect that next month.
We're working on it, though. It's pretty cool.
Nice. So that's really great. So the last things to do before we close this community show, and I thank you all for watching it, it's a weekly game. So the weekly game is something that I will continue to do weekly. It will happen on Twitch, not during the community show because that happens once a month, but we have once a month. We're going to see what are the screenshots and the entry that the player have been sharing for the weekly game. So it's a silly little game on Discord where I give you some instruction and here the weekly game. So the last weekly game, the instruction were show me how good of a thief or a spy you could be. Take a screenshot of you sneaking somewhere. What are you actually doing? One screenshot per player. So let's see what the people are doing. So here we have Gust, which is spying on the Grimstone Marauder for Anya Wildrun. Isn't that nice? It's a very dark screenshot of Gust fading in the shadow to spy the Grimstone Marauder. Here we have Aluna checking out what the Stonecoat Surveyor are doing and trying to pickpocket them. I think they have item that people want, right? That you may need for a quest or something. Baru is sneaking between a rat and a heart place. So what's happening to Baru? Yeah, Baru is really melting into shadow as well. You only see his little ember stone. Otherwise, you could think it's a rock.
One of my favorite things to do is try to sneak into ruins and grab chests.
Oh, yeah. And I must
If I
say
see a
that
chest, I try.
in the dry food fortress, crouching is really necessary sometimes.
Yeah, agreed.
So here we have Marcus' entry, where you see someone at the market. Having stumbled out of the inn, full of beer from the tailspin about the duel, being the young, proud and foolish brigand that he was, heard story that some fool called Marcus from Oz was due to receive mail filled with gold. Even 1 gold will stop me eating rats for a month, he thought. So being named after water, he found the best place to hide and watch the mailbox. Yeah, in the water. None will see me, he thought, as he saw something that was certainly not water float by. I'm sure this is a good idea. I'm sure I've been here for 3 days, but he will certainly visit. And it's funny because Marcus was the one winning the last game. And here we have Flub hiding behind. It's a very beautiful screenshot, actually. She looked good from afar, but very dark was the bar, and she drew near. I became stricken with fear. Perhaps too much beer to flee and to run to this tree. Behind it I hide. I crouched on one knee. Will my final demise this be? Nice, it was a little poem and everything. So that's cool. Thank you everyone for your entry. Let's find who is the winner. Let me get my wheel. So we have 5 and 3. That's nice. That's exactly what we have. Good luck, guys. Let's see who's going to win. Don't tell me it's again Marcus. Let's see. Who's the number 3? No, it's Baru! Congratulations, Baru! Your heart place and your rats made you win 1 gold that I will send you to your character in-game. Thank you so very much for participating, everyone. And that's it for today.
Nice. Congrats, Baru. Thanks for playing.
Yeah. So here it is. Our monthly community show is about to end. Do we have any last question before we close it? Or Drindin, do you have anything else you want to add?
I'm just excited about this event we have coming up from the 12th to the 14th of July. Mark it on your calendars, as Elloa said. We're gonna have a discount, and we're gonna have a lot of fun stuff going on. So
Yep.
it's gonna be great.
Yep, exactly. A lot of work to prepare all of that. So you guys, take care of yourself. Thank you so very much for watching. Thanks to all of you that are playing our game and supporting us. You take care of yourself and see you in game. Bye, everyone.
Bye.